Morning, ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to today's video. Wow, actually I changed it. Welcome back to the channel. What the hell, Meadsy? So today we're going to look at another shit tank. We're going to look at another shit tank that nobody plays because it is shit. In fact, some people do they do like the tank. Of course, we're looking at the Panther 8.8. Now, it's quite a rare tank nowadays because nobody freaking wants it. It is basically a Panther, a tier, or a Panther 2. But yeah, it doesn't perform really well. And yeah, nobody plays it. Even if they've got the tank, nobody plays it because it's shit. So we're going to look at the stats. In fact, the stats it doesn't make the tank look bad by all means. So the turret armor, you got 160 millimeters on your turret armor and 110 on your hull. So actually, that's not too bad for a medium tank. And just like the Panther, you can actually get some troll bounces. But yeah, you can't rely on that armor by all means. DPM, I think it's got decent DPM at 2,243. So good DPM. It's got a low reload at just 5.89 or 5.9 seconds, but it has the low alpha. So of course it's one of those quick firing guns, but it doesn't do as much damage. Your penetration is 213 on your AP, 249 on your APCR. Now we are running this with calibrated shells. Without that, I mean, we don't gain a lot of APCR pen, like 12 or 13, so it's not a lot. But every little helps in this tank. Now, if you do come up against tier 9s, especially tier 9 heavy tanks, you will struggle to penetrate them in this tank. Think of it like a Smasher. Smasher is a tier below, but the heat has like 270 mil. So yeah, the penetration isn't the greatest at all. So you've got a 220 alpha gun on the AP, 190 on your APCR, and 270 on your HE. Aim time and the gun dispersion are actually really good on the tank at 2.4 and 2.299 respectively. So you do have 8 degrees of gun depression with a top speed of 55 kilometers per hour. So yeah, stat wise, apart from sort of the penetration, I don't think it's too bad. I don't think the stats are actually too bad on paper on the tank. But yeah, you're not going to bounce too many. You're not going to bounce too many shots in the tank. But again, what I do like about the tank, and the same with the Panther and the Panther 2 really, is that quick firing gun. Yes, it does have the low alpha, but the fact that if you can get yourself in a certain position, then yeah, you can actually keep firing your gun, which is what I like. You know, it's not really a brawling tank. It can be a brawling tank if you are up against tier 7 mediums. If you do come up against tier 7 mediums, then you can actually come out better. You come up against tier 8s and tier 9s, then you really will suffer. So yeah, Wargaming of course have come a long way. This tank has been released, like it's been out in the game for ages, like literally a very long time. But yeah, I just don't think that there's no reason to play it. There's literally zero reason to play this tank at all. There are better medium tanks in tier 8, like loads more better medium tanks in tier 8. So there's no reason whatsoever to play the Panther 8.8, and that is why no one playing it. Like, you'll very rarely see this tank. I'm not saying you won't see it, but you'll very rarely see the tank. And if you do see the tank, I almost guarantee it's not going to perform too well on the battlefield. You're probably going to do around between 15, I would say between 1,000 and 1,500 damage, probably most games. And you want to be doing more than that in tier 8. Like, you don't have to do much more, but between sort of 2,000, 2,500 is what you should be kind of aiming for. But yeah, it's very rare that you will do the tank because it does have that low alpha and it's not the strongest. It takes you a lot longer to be able to get that damage. So yeah, not really too much happens this game. Not really exciting. We do go on and win the game, but yeah, 1,700 damage, which is absolutely shocking. So we're going to have just one more game. This game is a little bit better, but again, we are up against a couple of tier 7 tanks. And again, like any tank, of course, if you're a tier 8 coming up against tier 7s, you should be performing better than if you was up against some tier 9s. Like, I'm coming up against a bulldog here, for God's sake. You're going to perform better against a bulldog than you are against a T54, for example. Of course, that's just the way it works. So the bulldog don't do very well, and 30 or not even 35 seconds and he's already gone, which is good because that clears the only light medium tank. There's no more mediums or light tanks on the enemy team, so that in fact gets rid of their spotter as well. So clearing him was actually a very good thing to do, and I'm glad he just YOLO'd like he did. So as I said, if you are top tier, you can get them bounces. You can't rely on the armor, but you can actually get them bounces. Now I'm coming up against a challenger here who is a tier below me, but he also has good DPM, and again, you sort of back up a bit and allow them to only see a little bit of your tank, you will be able to get those bounces, which is what I've done here. So I've managed to block 600 against this guy, no problem whatsoever. And again, with the aim time, the dispersion, some of these snapshots you can actually hit quite regularly, apart from that shot, of course. But yes, it's just, I'm not saying it's like an awful, like the worst, I wouldn't say it's like the worst tank in tier 8, but it is a shit tank. It is a shit tank that can perform well, just like any tank. Any tank can perform well, but yeah, there's just no reason to play it. There's just no reason to play this tank at all. I might as well just go and play the Panther 2, and even the Panther 1, which is a tier lower, which I think is actually better. The Panther in tier 7, I think, is actually better than the Panther 2. But that's, again, just my opinion. So I'd like to know, like, do you guys actually like this tank? Is there anyone out there that actually really likes this tank? And if you do, is it a tank you play regularly? Because it's not going to be, even if you've got it as a premium tank. Like, I can't remember, apart from, of course, making the footage, I can't remember ever sort of playing this tank because I want to play the tank. Like, it just doesn't happen. It's not one of those tier 8 tanks. And as we know, tier 8 is the premium tier. It's the tier people go to earn credits or whatever they want to earn. But yeah, definitely won't be picking this tank. So that's my opinion. As always, I'd like to hear your opinion as well. Is it a tank that you like? And is it a tank that you play? But for now, hope you enjoyed today's video. I'm meadsy69, and I will catch you all soon. Bye-bye. With